Punctuation refers to a group of marks used in writing to show how each sentence should be read. Using punctuation correctly is critical for your English writing, as punctuation problems can lead to misunderstandings. Let's look at some of the most basic punctuation marks. A full stop,
or a period in American English.
Use a full stop at the end of every statement.
Taha Hussein was a great Egyptian writer.
A full stop ends a complete idea. Put a full stop or a period when you have completed your idea. And of course don't forget to start every new sentence with a capital letter. Use a period after some abbreviations, especially in American English. All these are correct ways of writing abbreviations for the United States of America. We have two cases here. If the abbreviation consists of the first and last letters of a word.
We use a period at the end.
We don't use a full stop at the end.
Mr.
Mr.
Doctor.
Doctor.
Junior.
Junior.
If the abbreviation consists only of the first part of a word, then you should put a period at the end. Like in the names of days and some months.
a comma.
It indicates a natural pause in a sentence. It's like when you make a short stop or a pause between thoughts, or when you take a little breath while speaking. Use a comma instead of and to separate items in a list. You don't need to use a comma before the last item. Use the word and instead.
Please buy bread, milk, butter and cheese.
As you can see here, we've used a comma before the items. But we've used the word and before the last item in the list. Use a comma to separate independent clauses when they are joined by conjunctions or linking words like and, but, for, or, nor, so, yet. An independent clause is a clause that can make sense by itself. Let's look at two independent clauses.
The show was over. The crowd refused to leave.
These are two independent clauses because each of them can stand by itself as a separate simple sentence. Now we can join these two sentences into one sentence by using a comma, followed by a linking word. Use a comma after introductory words like yes, no, sure, however, well, finally, etc.
Sure, I'll drive you to the park. No, it's not my favorite food.
Use a pair of commas in the middle of a sentence to set off clauses, phrases, and words that are not essential to the meaning of the sentence.
That Friday, which happens to be my birthday, is the only day when I'm available to meet.
Here we've used one comma before to indicate the beginning of the pause and one at the end to indicate the end of the pause. That means if we omit this clause in red between the two commas, the meaning of the sentence will not change much. Use a comma to separate a dependent clause from an independent clause.
If it keeps raining.
This is a dependent clause as it doesn't make sense by itself, it needs more context to make it complete, so we call it dependent.
We will have to go home.
This is an independent clause as it can stand by itself and still make sense. Now we have first clause which is the dependent clause, and the second clause which is the independent clause. And we can join them using a comma. Don't use a comma if you start with the independent clause.
We will have to go home if it keeps raining.
Here the first clause is independent, and the second clause is dependent. So we didn't use a comma to join them.
A question mark.
Use it at the end of a direct question. The direct question is the question that starts with a question word like what, who, how, where, why, or a helping verb like is, are, do, does, did, will, have, etc. Don't use it at the end of an indirect question. An indirect question is an embedded question within a statement. So the sentence that has an embedded question is considered a statement and must end in a full stop.
Will you go with me?
What should we put at the end? Yes, it starts with an auxiliary verb or a helping verb. So, it is a direct question and we end it with a question mark.
I'm asking if you will go with me.
What should we put at the end? No, this is not a question. It is a statement, so we should end it with a full stop. Let's look at a couple more examples.
An exclamation mark.
Use it at the end of a dramatic sentence. It expresses more emotion. It can make someone seem more passionate, excited, upset, or angry. But try not to use exclamation marks in formal writing as they work best in informal writing.
I love it.
Use it to warn someone, or to show that some information is important, surprising or shocking.
Be careful. Stop.
Use it to close a question with extreme emotions.
Are you serious?
This looks like a question, but we've ended it with an exclamation mark.
An apostrophe.
Use it to indicate the omission of letters or numbers. Look at these examples. Use it to show possession.
Nora's house. Teacher's room. Girls' school.
Let's eat, Grandma.
Let's eat, Grandma.
Why is grandmother scared in the first picture and happy in the second?